Have you ever stopped to consider that the simple act of storing your money in certain places inside your home could be quietly attracting scarcity into your life? That a choice which seems completely innocent, something you have done without a second thought for years, might be feeding a cycle of financial struggle you have never been able to break. Ancient Buddhist teachings warn us about exactly this. They tell us that certain specific locations drain the positive energy of money, block the flow of prosperity, and quietly undermine your financial stability. And what I am about to share with you today is not casual advice. For many people, it is the missing piece they have been searching for without knowing what they were looking for. Because here is the question that brings so many people to a video like this one. Have you ever wondered why, even with careful planning, even with hard work, even with genuine discipline, the money never seems to stretch far enough? Why it arrives and then simply evaporates? Why there always seems to be one more unexpected expense waiting the moment you finally get ahead? The answer, according to these teachings, may be far closer than you think. It may be sitting in the very place where you keep it. Today, we are going to walk through the 7 places in your home where you should never store money, according to Buddhist wisdom. And more importantly, I am going to show you exactly where you should keep it instead, and the simple daily practices that strengthen the energy of money in your life. By the end of this video, you will be able to walk through your own home and see it with completely new eyes. But before we go any further, I want to invite you to do something powerful, and it takes only a few seconds. Since this entire video is about opening the flow of abundance in your life, let us begin by consciously calling that abundance in. Go down to the comments right now and write this affirmation. I attract prosperity into my life and into my home, and I am open to receiving abundance in all areas of my life. Write it and mean it as you write it. There is genuine power in declaring an intention, especially in a place where others can see it. And once you have written yours, read a few of the ones written before you, because you will feel it, that quiet current of people from all over, all declaring the same intention at the same moment. Let us vibrate together and build a chain of prosperity right there in the comments. And do me 2 more small kindnesses. Give this video a like and subscribe to the channel with notifications turned on, because that is how these teachings reach more people who need them. And if this content has brought real value to your life and you would like to support the work directly, you can become a member of the channel. Membership is what allows me to keep researching, writing, and producing these videos for you every single week, and every member genuinely makes a difference. Whether you join or not, you are welcome here, and I am grateful you came. Now, let us begin. Before we get to the 7 places, let me lay the foundation, because without understanding the principle, the list is just a set of arbitrary rules. And rules without understanding never change anyone's life. The environment you live in has a profound influence over you, and most people dramatically underestimate this. Buddhist teachings tell us that every space in your home carries its own energy, its own character, its own vibration. The kitchen has one quality, the bathroom has another, the attic has another still. And when it comes to money, how you store it and where you choose to keep it can either create an environment of abundance or an environment of scarcity. Now, this may sound abstract at first, so let me ground it for you, because there is a deeply practical truth underneath this ancient wisdom. Where you keep something reveals and reinforces how you value it. Think about that honestly for a moment. The things you treasure, you place with care, in clean, considered spaces. The things you barely think about get shoved wherever there is room, and the mind reads those signals in both directions. When you stuff your savings into a cluttered drawer among old receipts and dead batteries, some part of you registers a message: this is not important. When you place it deliberately in a clean and orderly space, a very different message registers. In many Eastern cultures, The practice of harmonizing the energy of a home is taken extremely seriously, and Buddhism offers teachings with a similar spirit. Keep the energy in your home positive and flowing, and life will flow more easily as well. Ignore these principles, and you may unknowingly be creating blockages in areas of your life you never connected to your home at all. There is one more principle worth understanding before we begin, and it is perhaps the most important of all. In these teachings, money is not viewed as a dead object. It is viewed as a form of energy, and energy has a nature, it wants to move. Water that stops moving becomes stagnant. Air that never circulates becomes stale. And money, the teachings say, follows the same law. It is meant to circulate, to be earned and spent and shared and invested, to flow in and out like breath. When we trap it in the wrong kind of space, we are asking something that wants to move to sit perfectly still. And things that are forced to sit still eventually lose their vitality. So as we walk through these 7 places together, I want you to do something. Do not just listen passively. Picture your own home, room by room, and ask yourself, honestly, is my money in one of these places right now? Because for most people watching, the answer to that question is yes. And that realization, uncomfortable as it may be, is the beginning of everything changing. Let us start with the most common one of all. The first place you should never store money is under your mattress. This is an ancient practice, and an incredibly widespread one, passed down through generations of families who lived through hard times and learned not to trust institutions. It feels safe. It feels private. It feels like the money is close, protected, under your own body while you sleep. But according to Buddhist teachings, this is one of the most damaging places you could possibly choose. Here is why. Your bed is the place of rest, of surrender, of stillness. It is where you lay down your body and stop moving entirely for 8 hours. It is, energetically speaking, the most stagnant place in your entire home, and stagnation is the opposite of what money requires. Money, in these teachings, is understood as a form of energy in motion. It is meant to circulate, to flow, to move in and out, to be exchanged and multiplied. When you place it beneath the very place where all motion stops, you are asking it to sleep alongside you. And money that sleeps does not grow. There is a second layer here that matters just as much. Money stored under a mattress is money in hiding. It is money you cannot see, cannot count easily, cannot manage. And what we hide, we often hide out of fear. Fear of loss, fear of theft, fear that there will never be enough. That fear becomes attached to the money itself. And every night you sleep directly above it, absorbing that quiet anxiety. Instead of resting deeply, some part of you is standing guard over a secret. And notice the practical wisdom hidden inside this teaching, because it is real. Money under a mattress earns nothing. It is not working, not growing, not protected, and it is completely vulnerable to fire, to theft, to simply being forgotten. Generations of families have lost everything they saved this way. The teaching is pointing at something true. What you hide out of fear tends to be lost, and what you manage with clarity tends to grow. And there is one more thing about the mattress worth naming honestly, because I have seen it many times. Money hidden this way is often money that nobody else in the household knows about. It becomes a secret, and secrets carry weight. Whatever the intention behind it, whether protection or privacy or simple habit, keeping a hidden reserve creates a small area of your life that exists in shadow. The teachings say that abundance flows most freely in the light, in what is acknowledged and openly cared for. Secrecy and prosperity rarely travel well together. So if this is where your money is right now, please do not feel ashamed. It is one of the most human choices there is, and it usually comes from a good place, the desire to protect your family. But consider moving it. We will talk in detail later about exactly where it should go instead, and how to make that transition in a way that feels safe and right. And from the place of stillness, We move now to the very heart of the home, a room where you might think money would thrive and where the teachings say the opposite is true. The second place you should never store money is the kitchen. And this one surprises people because the kitchen is the warm heart of a home. It is where the family gathers, where nourishment is created, where love is expressed through food. Many people reason that a place of such abundance must surely be good for money. But Buddhist teachings point to something very specific about the kitchen's nature. The kitchen is a place of consumption. It is where things are used up. Food comes in, is cut, cooked, transformed by fire, eaten, and gone. That is the entire purpose of the room, and it performs that purpose beautifully. But it means that the dominant energy of the kitchen is the energy of consumption, of being spent, of being burned away. And when you store money in a place whose whole character is consumption, the teaching says you are symbolically placing your resources where they will be consumed. Money kept in the kitchen is money that will be eaten. Then there is the element of fire itself. Fire transforms, but fire also destroys, and it does so quickly. It is the fastest moving element in your home. Money placed near that constant heat, near the stove, near the oven, is associated with rapid burning through. Many people have noticed a pattern in their own lives without ever connecting it to the room. Money seems to arrive and disappear at extraordinary speed, spent almost as fast as it comes in, with nothing to show for it. There is also water present in every kitchen, and water in these traditions is associated with flowing away, with washing out, with things running down the drain. The combination of fire and water in one room makes the kitchen an intensely active, constantly transforming space. Wonderful for cooking, difficult for anything you want to preserve and accumulate. And on the practical level, the kitchen is genuinely a poor choice. Heat, humidity, steam, and grease damage paper over time. It is one of the busiest rooms in any home, with the most people passing through, which makes it the least private. And it is one of the first places anyone would look. So if your savings live in a coffee tin, a cookie jar, or a cupboard above the stove, this is worth reconsidering, both for the energy and for the very practical reasons. And from the room of fire and consumption, we move to a place the teachings consider even more damaging. The third place you should never store money is the bathroom. And of all 7 places on this list, this one is considered by many teachers to be the most harmful of all. It may seem like an unusual place to keep money, but it is far more common than you would imagine. Because people hide valuables in medicine cabinets, behind mirrors, in vanity drawers, precisely because no one thinks to look there. But consider what the bathroom is. Energetically, it is the room of elimination. It is where the body releases what it no longer needs, where waste leaves the house, where water constantly flows down and away. Every drain in that room leads outward, carrying things away from your home. That is its entire function, and it is a necessary and honorable one. But it means the dominant energy of the bathroom is the energy of release, of discharge, of things leaving and never returning. Now imagine placing your money, the resources you wish to keep and grow, into the one room in your home whose whole purpose is to make things go away. The teaching is almost painfully clear. Money stored in the bathroom is money being flushed. Money that leaves as fast as it arrives. Money that disappears down the drain in ways you cannot explain, through unexpected bills, sudden repairs, small leaks in your budget that never quite make sense. There is also the matter of purity. In Buddhist thought, prosperity is connected to clean, elevated, honored spaces. The bathroom, despite being scrubbed and sanitized, is symbolically associated with impurity and with the lowest functions of the body. Placing something you wish to elevate into the space you associate with what is discarded creates a fundamental contradiction. And the teachings say your subconscious mind registers that contradiction whether you intend it or not. And practically speaking, the bathroom may be the single worst environment in your home for storing paper. The constant humidity, the steam from showers, the temperature swings, all of it degrades cash and documents over time, encouraging mold and deterioration. Even setting every spiritual consideration aside, this is simply a poor place to keep anything you value. If your money is in a bathroom cabinet right now, this may be the single most important change you make after this video. And from the room of release, we move now to a more modern danger, one the ancient teachers never faced, but whose principle applies perfectly. The fourth place you should never store money is anywhere near your electronic devices. In a drawer beneath the television, next to the computer, in a cabinet beside the microwave, on the shelf where the router and the chargers live. This is an extremely common modern habit, chosen purely for convenience, and according to these teachings, it carries a real cost. Electronic devices generate constant activity. They hum, they emit, they never truly rest. And more importantly, think about what they represent in the emotional life of your home. The television brings you the news, the alarming headlines, the advertisements engineered to make you feel that what you have is not enough. The computer brings work, deadlines, bills, and the endless noise of the modern world. These devices are, for most people, sources of stimulation, agitation, and low-grade stress. They are not restful. They are not peaceful. The teaching says that money placed in that field of restless, agitated energy absorbs it. And what results, in practical terms, is a relationship with money characterized by anxiety rather than security. You may notice that thinking about your finances produces a tightness in your chest, a sense of pressure, a feeling that you are always slightly behind and always slightly at risk. Money and worry become fused together in your mind, and worry is one of the least productive states from which to make financial decisions. There is another connection worth naming. Screens, particularly televisions and phones, are the primary delivery system for advertising, and advertising exists for one purpose: to convert your contentment into desire. Every hour spent in front of a screen is an hour spent being shown what you do not have. Storing your savings inside that field of manufactured wanting is, symbolically, keeping your resources in the very place where the impulse to spend them is being cultivated. So move your money away from the devices. Give it a home in a quiet part of your house, a place associated with calm and clarity rather than stimulation and stress. Your finances deserve to be connected in your mind with peace, not with the anxious hum of a screen. And here is a small experiment worth trying, because it makes this principle immediately real to you. For 1 week, notice how you feel about money right after watching the news, and then notice how you feel about money after a quiet walk outdoors. The numbers in your account will be identical in both moments, but your sense of security, your willingness to plan, your capacity to think clearly about the future will be entirely different. That difference is not imaginary. That is exactly the influence these teachings have been pointing at for centuries, and it is why the atmosphere surrounding your money matters as much as the amount of it. And from the busiest energy in the house, we move to the most forgotten. The fifth place you should never store money is the attic. This one feels clever, which is exactly why so many people do it. The attic is rarely visited, out of sight, and nobody would think to look there. It seems like the perfect hiding place, but according to Buddhist teachings, it may be one of the most quietly damaging choices of all. Start with the symbolism, which is remarkably precise. The attic is above you. It represents what is over your head, out of reach, beyond your grasp. Money stored in the attic is money positioned symbolically above your control. And the teaching says this can manifest as a persistent feeling that your prosperity is always just out of reach, always somewhere you cannot quite get to. You may notice this in your own life as a constant sense that financial security is coming one day later, but never quite arriving in your hands today. Then there is what the attic actually is in most homes, the place of forgotten things. It is where objects go when we cannot bring ourselves to discard them, but no longer want them in our lives. It is a warehouse of the past, thick with dust, holding boxes nobody has opened in 15 years. The dominant energy of that space is stagnation and forgetfulness. And money placed among forgotten things, the teachings say, absorbs the quality of being forgotten. It becomes inert, inaccessible, stuck. Attics are also typically dark, stuffy, cluttered, and disorganized, which creates an atmosphere of chaos. And chaos in the environment tends to become chaos in the corresponding area of life. Confusion about your finances, bills that get lost, uncertainty about where your money actually is and what it is doing. To thrive financially, you need clarity and order, and it is very difficult to have an orderly relationship with money that lives in a disorderly place. Practically, attics are brutal environments, extreme heat in summer, cold in winter, humidity, dust, pests, and often the first place fire damage occurs. Anything stored there degrades. So both the teaching and simple common sense point in the same direction. Money should live where you can see it, reach it, and manage it. Prosperity that you cannot access is not really prosperity at all. And from the highest place in the house, we move to one of the lowest. The sixth place you should never store money is the garage. Like the attic, it seems practical, especially if you have a locked cabinet or a hidden box out there. But the garage carries its own particular energy problem, and it is a significant one. The garage is a place of transit. It is not a room where life happens. It is a corridor between the home and the outside world. Cars pull in and pull out. People pass through on their way to somewhere else. Nothing settles there. Nothing rests. Its entire nature is movement outward, leaving, departure, and money placed in a space defined by departure, the teaching says, tends to depart. It moves out as easily as everything else that passes through those doors. There is also the matter of how we treat the garage. Be honest, it does not receive the same care as the rest of the house. It is where things get piled, where tools and paint cans and old furniture accumulate, where the cleaning standards relax. It is the room we apologize for. And when you place your financial resources in the space you value least, you are making a statement about how much you value those resources. The teaching warns that this undervaluation reflects back into your life as neglect, inattention to your finances, poor management, missed opportunities, and a general sense that money is a background concern rather than something worthy of care. Money should be stored somewhere that symbolizes its importance, somewhere aligned with dignity and care rather than with clutter and transit. If your savings are currently in a coffee can on a garage shelf between the motor oil and the Christmas decorations, that placement is telling you and the universe something you probably do not actually believe. And let me offer you a simple test you can apply to any location in your home. Imagine that someone you deeply respect, someone whose opinion genuinely matters to you, were standing beside you as you open the place where you keep your money. Would you feel a small flush of embarrassment? Would you find yourself explaining, apologizing, saying, I know, I keep meaning to organize this? If the answer is yes, that feeling is your own inner wisdom telling you exactly what these teachings have been saying for centuries. You already know. You have simply been too busy to listen. And from the place of transit, we come to the seventh and final location, which may be the most surprising of all, because it seems like the most sensible choice a responsible person could make. The seventh place you should never store money is your office desk or work drawer. And I know this one will catch many of you off guard, because it feels like the most logical, responsible, organized place imaginable. It is where you handle bills, where you keep documents, where financial matters are dealt with. Surely money belongs there. But according to Buddhist teachings, this is precisely the problem. Your desk is a place of intense mental activity. It is where you plan, calculate, worry, and solve. It is the seat of pressure and deadlines. And the emotional atmosphere that accumulates there is one of obligation and stress when you store money in that environment. The teaching says your finances become infused with that same quality. Money stops feeling like freedom and starts feeling like burden, like something perpetually attached to problems that need solving. Notice how precise that is. What do you actually do at that desk? You pay bills. You review what is owed. You confront deadlines and demands. That surface is associated, in your mind, with obligation. And money kept there becomes, in your inner experience, purely a tool for handling crises rather than a resource for creating a life. That shift is subtle, but enormously limiting. When money is only ever the thing that solves problems, it can never become the thing that builds dreams. The office drawer is also, in nearly every home, a place of accumulation and disorder. Papers pile up, receipts, warranties, old statements, pens that no longer work. That disorganization transfers to the energy of what is stored among it, producing exactly the financial confusion so many people live with: an unclear picture, lost track of things, a persistent low anxiety about where they actually stand. And there is a final quality worth naming: rigidity. The desk is a place of focus and control, which is valuable for work, but money in these teachings needs lightness and flow in order to multiply. Placed in a rigid, pressured environment, finances tend to become rigid too, difficult to move, difficult to grow. So choose a lighter, calmer, more positive place, somewhere your money can rest in an atmosphere of possibility instead of pressure. And now that we have covered all 7, let us talk about what actually matters most: where your money should go instead. If you truly want to transform your financial energy, choosing the right location is just as important as avoiding the wrong ones. The good places do more than simply protect your resources. The teachings say they amplify the positive energy associated with prosperity, keeping abundance in constant flow rather than letting it become blocked. The best option, according to these teachings, is a safe or a sturdy locked box, placed in a strategic location such as a bedroom closet or a room you personally associate with calm and well-being. And notice the qualities required of that location, because each one matters. It should be organized so that order surrounds your resources. It should be clean, because cleanliness is associated with clarity and elevation. It should be easily accessible to you, because prosperity you cannot reach is prosperity you do not truly possess. And it should be in a part of your home that feels peaceful to you, so that your money rests in an atmosphere of security rather than agitation. There is something quietly powerful about placing your money in a proper container rather than loose in a drawer. It is an act of respect. A dedicated box says, "This matters. It has its own place. It is not an afterthought." And that respect, the teachings say, is returned. What we honor tends to grow. What we treat carelessly tends to slip away. The tradition also suggests placing your money near objects that symbolize prosperity and abundance, healthy green plants, or crystals such as pyrite and citron, which many traditions associate with attracting wealth. These objects do more than decorate. They serve as visual anchors for intention, so that every time you see them, your mind is reminded of the outcome you are working toward. Whether you take the metaphysics literally or see them simply as symbols, the effect on your own thinking is real, and your own thinking is where your financial decisions are actually made. Now let me pause here and add something genuinely important. And I say this because I care about you and not just about the video. As you reorganize where you keep your money, please be practical and safe as well as spiritually intentional. Keep only modest amounts of cash at home, enough for emergencies and daily needs. Larger savings belong in a bank or a proper financial institution, where they are protected against fire, theft, and loss. and where they can actually grow rather than sitting still. Every year, families lose everything they saved because it was hidden in a house that flooded, burned, or was burgled. Honoring your money means protecting it in the practical world too, not only in the energetic one. The spiritual practice and the sensible practice are meant to work together, not replace each other. And beyond location, there are daily practices that strengthen the energy of money in your life, and these may matter even more than where the box sits. The first is the daily practice of gratitude. Take a moment each day to genuinely appreciate what you already have, not as a recitation, but as a real feeling. This is powerful because scarcity thinking is fundamentally a habit of attention, an ingrained focus on what is missing. Gratitude retrains that attention toward what is present, and a mind focused on sufficiency makes very different decisions than a mind focused on lack. The second practice is the energetic cleansing of your storage space. Once a week or once a month, open the place where you keep your money. Take everything out. Clean it thoroughly. Remove the old receipts, the expired papers, the accumulated clutter. Wipe the surfaces. Then replace your money with care and intention. Some traditions use incense or sage for this. Some simply use sunlight and fresh air. Whatever your method, the act itself has real power because it forces you into regular conscious contact with your own resources instead of avoidance. The third practice is positive visualization. Spend a few quiet minutes picturing your financial life as you wish it to be. Not vaguely, but specifically, see the bills paid, see the account growing, see yourself making a decision from a place of security rather than fear. Feel what that would actually feel like in your body. This is not fantasy, it is direction. The mind moves toward what it rehearses, and most people rehearse their fears far more vividly than their hopes. And the fourth practice is prosperity affirmations, spoken aloud. The very affirmation you wrote in the comments at the beginning of this video is one you can repeat each morning. I attract prosperity into my life and into my home, and I am open to receiving abundance in all areas of my life. Speaking it aloud matters. It changes the internal conversation, and for most people, the internal conversation around money has been running on scarcity and fear since childhood, often inherited word for word from parents who lived through genuinely hard times. And let me say something about that inheritance, because it explains so much. If you grew up in a household where money was a source of tension, where there was never quite enough, where the arrival of an envelope in the mail made the whole house go quiet, then you learned something about money before you were old enough to question it. You learned that money is dangerous, that it disappears, that wanting it is shameful and having it is precarious. And decades later, that lesson is still running quietly underneath your decisions, shaping how you save, how you spend, and how you feel every time you open your accounts. None of that was your fault, but all of it can be changed, and it changes the same way it was installed, through repetition, through the words you say to yourself, day after day, until a new belief becomes as automatic as the old one was. So let us bring all of this together, because a video only matters if something changes afterward. Notice what all 7 of these places actually have in common, because once you see the pattern, you will never need the list again. Every single one is a place of stagnation, consumption, elimination, agitation, forgetting, transit, or pressure. Not one of them is a place of calm, order, dignity, and accessibility. The teaching, underneath all its symbolism, is remarkably simple. Keep what you value in a place that reflects that value. And here is the deeper truth I want you to carry away. This was never really about the geography of your house. It was about your relationship with money, which for most people was formed long before they were old enough to choose it. If you grew up watching your parents fight about bills, or hide money out of fear, or treat every discussion of finances as a source of shame, you absorbed all of that, and you have been carrying it, quietly, ever since. Where you keep your money is simply the visible expression of an invisible relationship. So when you move that box, you are doing something more than rearranging a house. You are making a declaration. You are saying, I am no longer going to hide my resources out of fear. I am going to treat what I have with respect and clarity. I am going to look at my finances instead of avoiding them. And that shift from avoidance to attention, from fear to respect, is where genuine financial change actually begins, in every tradition and in every practical system I have ever encountered. Now, I want to be honest and responsible with you before we close. Everything shared here is spiritual and symbolic wisdom, offered for reflection and for cultivating a healthier relationship with abundance. It is not financial advice, and I am not a financial professional. No arrangement of objects in a home replaces sound money management, honest budgeting, or professional guidance when you need it. If you are facing serious financial difficulty right now, please seek out qualified help from a trusted advisor, a credit counselor, or someone knowledgeable you trust. There is no shame in that whatsoever. It is one of the wisest things a person can do. And please be cautious of anyone who promises that a ritual alone will solve financial problems. The teachings in this video are meant to work alongside practical action, never in place of it. So here is what I would invite you to do today, and it is small enough that you can do it before the sun goes down. Walk through your home, find where your money actually is right now, and if it is in one of these 7 places, move it. Find a clean, calm, organized spot. Put it in a proper container. Place something green and living nearby if you can. And as you do it, say your affirmation out loud and mean it. It will take you 15 minutes. And many people report that something shifts in how they feel about their finances almost immediately, not because the universe rearranged itself, but because they did something conscious and respectful with what they have, perhaps for the first time in years. Remember, prosperity begins with small actions, and it begins with attention. Every place in your home is either supporting the life you want or quietly working against it. You are the one who decides which, and you have far more power over this than anyone ever told you. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. If this content was helpful to you, please give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you do not miss what is coming next. And if you would like to support this work directly so I can keep creating these videos, consider becoming a member of the channel. Every member truly makes this possible, and I am deeply grateful to each one. And tell me down in the comments, which of these 7 places was your money hiding in? And which practice are you most excited to begin? Share it, along with what city and state you are watching from and how old you are, because I read every single comment, and your story may be exactly what encourages someone else to finally make a change. Let us vibrate together for a more prosperous and abundant life. Take good care of yourself, and I will see you in the next video.